What on earth are you doing now, Daddy?
Hello folks, in this video I'm trying another method of making things, 3D printing, and we're going to be using the Creality Ender-3 V2 3D printer. This was very kindly sent to me by Creality UK, and this lovely big box arrived, and it's the 3D printer and 2 large spools of filament. And as I say, it came from Creality UK, and it arrived next day, so it was a very good fast delivery on that. Just unpackaging it here, and I have to say it's probably the best packaged thing I've ever received. The packaging was amazing. Just gradually getting all the bits out. It's quite a heavy, substantial bit of kit. Lots of components, and as I say, nicely packaged. And the instructions were very, very good. Very clear. If you struggle with the instructions, there's some instructions on the memory card that comes with it. First of all, check your voltage, make sure it's correct for your region. And here I'm just fixing the Z-axis limit switch. These all work with T-nuts. That goes on the extrusion. And now I'm putting the Z-axis uprights on there. All the bolt packets are all carefully labelled, so there's no doubt as to which ones you should be using. And all the tools are included, which is really nice. So once we've got those installed, it's starting to look a bit more like a 3D printer now. They all went together very nicely. It was another very satisfying build. I love it when everything slots together as it should. All the threads were good quality bolts. And inside this protective sleeve, and this was actually inside one of the extrusions, is the threaded bar that controls the Z-axis. I'm just fixing that to a stepper motor. Stepper motors are the little motors that do the precise movements of the print head. This then gets screwed onto one of the uprights. It was all quite straightforward really, and as I say, the instructions were very, very good. There are some good YouTube videos actually on how to build these if in doubt. This is the extruder assembly. So I'm attaching the feed tubes and the nozzles. And I'm just installing the extruder onto the end of the X-axis, the gantry. These are little drive belts, a bit fiddly just threading them through, but you thread them in the slots. On goes what they call the hot end, which is the heated end that melts the filament. And I've just fitted the passive wheeled end that goes onto the other Z-axis upright. That allows it to slide up and down evenly. This is the belt tensioner, and you have to dismantle a belt tensioner in order to thread the belt round it. You'd struggle to do it without dismantling it. It was a little bit fiddly, but it was fairly straightforward. A couple of screws hold that in place. And as I say, all the tools are included, including about 4 different Allen keys. That's the gantry going on, and then a brace across the top. Bracket just fitting that for the control panel. And there's the control panel. Really nice clear screen on that. It's not touch screen, it's got a scroll wheel. That's a little turn knob thing that goes onto the extruder. The extruder is what feeds the filament to the hot end. And this is the spool holder, which I've screwed onto the top. The ends of the top extrusion are just finished off with a couple of end caps, plastic end caps. This is the mains lead, and it's actually got a UK plug on it, which is good. Then it's just a case of doing all the wiring connections. All these little connectors have to go in the right way up, but it's very obvious how they go in, and they're all really nicely labelled. Some of them are a little bit tricky to get to, but they've all got these little yellow clips on them which tell you where they've got to be connected. This is the filament feed tube. Just push it as a push connector. There's a little plastic clip just to make sure it stays in place. Comes with this lovely little scraper for getting things off the build bed, and this full set of tools: unblocking needle, wrenches, Allen wrenches, screwdriver, lovely clipper for cutting the filament, and that's your memory card and a memory card adapter, USB adapter. And there's lots of stuff on the memory card. There's models you can print straight away and software as well for slicing. So here it is, we're firing it up. Here's the screen. The first thing I'm doing is going preheat PLA. So you select it and press the knob. And what that does is it heats up the bed that your model is built on, and it heats up the tip as well. Here I'm disabling the stepper motors. This means that I can move them by hand, because the next part is levelling the bed. What you're doing is you're making it level to the X and Y axes. And the way you do this is with there's hand wheels under each of the four corners of the bed, and use a sheet of A4 paper, and it should be able to slide between the bed and the nozzle, the hot end, with just a minimal amount of resistance. It takes a long while to do this. You have to do it bit by bit, because as you adjust one corner it'll alter another corner. Only do it when the bed is hot, and just keep going round until it feels even all the way round, so you've just got that paper spacing evenly all the way round. You might have to do this before each print as well. This is the filament. I've got a 1 kilo spool of black and a 1 kilo spool of white, which is very nice getting those. That means I could get started straight away. Just feeding the filament into the extruder. And here's a little simple design I did on Shaper 3D. It's really good software, Shaper 3D. I was just using a trial version. The actual proper version is quite expensive. I haven't decided whether I can afford that just yet. And then that file that I've created, I'm loading into Cura, which is a slicing software. There is a version of this, Creality's version of this, on the memory card, which you can just use that. But the machine has to know what the slicers are for this, because it builds it up in layers, and it has to know what each layer looks like. So what this software is doing is converting my 3D model into G code that the 3D printer understands. So I'm checking the settings. I'm doing this on standard 0.2 millimeter layer height. I haven't put any supports or adhesive layer on there. We're just printing it straight. So we hit slice, and it tells you how long it's going to take, 1 hour 24 minutes, and it tells you how much filament it's going to use. So you save that, and you then transfer that onto your memory card. I'm using a different card reader here because it fits my MacBook. And this goes in the slot in the front, and it's upside down, it goes in. And then once it's in there, we can go back to our menu, and we hit print, and then we have to select the file that we had. So you scroll down to the file, you'll see there's a cat and a dog file on there that Creality have put on there, which you can do as a first print if you haven't got something else you want to do. And we're away. You can see the bed moving there. So for some of the movements it's the bed that moves, and for other movements it's the actual print head that moves, the hot end. So movements on the x-axis, it's the print head that moves, and on the y-axis it's the bed that moves, or of course a combination of the two. But here it is working away. It is very, very interesting how it works. And that's the extruder knob moving round, showing it's moving, and that will go backwards and forwards because it will retract the filament at times to stop stringing. You can just see his teeth appearing there, and then popping it off the bed. Very pleased with that. But it lays down filament and it melts it so it bonds to the previous layer, and it does it one layer at a time. Here's some other designs I've been working on. These are all designed from scratch by myself on Shaper 3D. So it's a lighting bracket, and that's a sort of an adjustment knob. That's a thumb wheel for a bolt, and a cheese fridge magnet. So I've been also making some lens caps. Various designs. And I have to say the software is excellent. Here's one of the lens caps. I'm just popping it off, and you can see the substructure there which helps support it as it builds it. That sort of lattice bit. You just throw that bit away. Here's that adjustment knob, the outer part for it being built, and you can see the infill there. You can have them done solid, but generally you're better off selecting some infill. And that's the finished job. Really pleased with the quality of printing on that. When you pull it off, it's got some support structure underneath it, just where it's got an overhang. So popping that off. And this piece is a bit of a hybrid piece. I've done the outer bit with the 3D printer, and the inner part for this I did on the laser. So and there's several layers of 3mm ply with my Starbond CA glue, and that's an M16 nut. And there it is. And it works very nicely. If you printed the whole thing, it'd take hours. And it works quite well doing a combination of the two. Here's that little thumb wheel. And the lens caps. The finish on them is amazing. A lot better than I was expecting from a filament printer. Yeah, I was very, very pleased. And another unboxing for you. This also came from Creality UK and arrived next day. Next day delivery. I paid for this, and it's a custom housing for this actual printer. It fits all the Ender-3 printers, because there's several in the series. And it's purpose built for them by Creality. And it's got reflective inner to keep the heat in. It's flame proof, it's got storage pockets, bits for leads to go through. Jenny will be pleased because it gets it off the dining room table. But it means it can go in my cold, dusty workshop. And here it is out in the workshop, working away. But the filament does not like it if it's cold, so this keeps it all nice and warm.
Hello folks, well it's the end of another video, 3D printing this time, and I've had great fun. It's been really good. Sorry about the croaky voice, and low winter sun's getting in my eyes a bit as well, but not been very well the past week. It's been quite good having the 3D printer, because at least I've been able to make things on my laptop indoors in the warm. So I've been creating things and then printing them off. But really pleased with the Creality printer. It's the Creality Ender-3 version 2 or V2, and it was supplied by Creality UK, and I'll put links in the description. And it's really good. I'm new to this, so yes, I haven't got anything to compare it to, but I think my opinion of it as a newbie to 3D printing is actually very relevant. I got on really well with it. It's my first 3D printer. They're not exactly plug and play 3D printers. You have to know what you're doing a little bit. You just do a little bit of research. You have to fiddle about with certain things. You have to learn how to use the slicing software, which is what layers everything before you print it. But it's all, most of it, it will do it for you, but you just need to be a little bit aware of a few of the parameters. But I got on really well with it, absolutely amazed. The only failures I had were my fault. With a rubbish design, one of my things I made was didn't really work, and another one was where I just orientated the model wrong when I sliced it in the slicing software. But other than that, it hasn't missed a beat, and it has been running virtually constantly. I've produced all sorts of things. I really want to only really print off my own designs. You know, I don't want to print off other people's toys. I have printed off a few to test the printer out, which I'll show you in a moment, but you know, I started off with these technical type things, and this was all my own design. I designed this from scratch in some software on my iPad, and it's a lighting clamp. I even made the little knob and everything, and it looks so professional. Really pleased with it. There's a limit to the physical properties of PLA filament, but it will print other filaments as well. You just have to change the settings, and it does help if you've got the housing that I bought, which is in my workshop. I bought the housing with my own money. That came from Creality UK as well, and that arrived next day as well, you know, just like the printer did. Absolutely fantastic. But the housing is very good. It keeps the printer warm and at a constant temperature, because it won't, like my cold workshop, the layers won't bond properly, and it keeps the dust off it as well. But like I say, I really want to just make components and things for my workshop. But as I have been working my way through it, I realised the potential for detail and sculpture, and I've been creating all sorts of things, and I needed something to test how good it is at detail. So I downloaded some quite detailed files off Thingiverse, which is a website that's full of 3D objects that you can download to print. And I downloaded very detailed CT scan of a gorilla skull, and this was the first attempt, and I hadn't layered it right, I hadn't sliced it right, so I lost a bit of detail around the teeth, but it's stunning, the quality of it. Anyway, me being me and a fussy beggar, an OCD, I had to reprint it, and I got it right this time, and made it slightly bigger as well. But it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. Really impressed with the quality of it. Beautiful. And another thing I did download as well, just to demonstrate that you can print things ready assembled with all the joints pre-formed, which you couldn't do with a mould. And there it is, the Alien Facehugger fidget toy. Creepiest fidget toy ever. Brilliant. I love the Alien films, but yeah, I had to get that one. What I'd really like to do is get into 3D scanning, so I can scan my own detailed models and my own carvings and creations, and then 3D print them. And I know Creality do a 3D scanner, so I'm going to have a look at that. But that's something I'd really like to do. I'd love to be able to create files similar to this one. That's what I'd really like. But yeah, very impressed with the 3D printer, and it was nice to build, lovely to build, and you actually get everything with it you need. It comes with the filament, there's an SD card, an SD card reader in there, a little micro SD card, and it's even got files on there pre-prepared for you to print. The software's on there as well for slicing it. There's everything you need there, and all the tools as well, and a little tool drawer. So it's a great bit of kit. Really, really like it. There's lots of upgrades available for these Ender-3 3D printers. If you want to upgrade bits on them, you can. There's absolutely tons of things you can do to them if you want to make it a more sophisticated machine. I'm not sure I immediately feel the need for a lot of the upgrades, but I would like to get the Creality bed levelling system. They do a really reasonably priced automatic bed levelling system, because levelling the bed is one of the trickier things, and I would recommend levelling it before each print, really. and you soon get the hang of it. But if you could do it automatically with their automatic bed leveling system, then yeah, that would be good. That's something I'd like to get. I've had really good fun with it. It's lovely being able to create my own components and things. I shall be back soon with some more creations. Bye for now.
Here's some more bits I've been doing. Designing and making. These are little toggles for bungee cord. For a little project I've got going on. Here's that lighting bracket you saw the design for and the thumb wheel. And that all goes together very nicely. Just with a brass insert. And this was that gorilla skull I downloaded off Thingiverse. I'll put links to that in the description. These are some of the bits and bobs I've been making. A few stills. But I designed all these pieces. And something else I designed is the cheese fridge magnet, which I was also very pleased with, but I really do need some yellow PLA filament. And I'm going to put that design on Thingiverse if anyone wants to make that. And this is something else on the go, and it's Alien fidget toy. Very clever how that's been designed. Yeah, suitably creepy. And there's a few other stills showing various sizes of gorilla skull and things. But thank you very much for watching. Back soon.
Thanks for watching. More rubbish coming soon.